Hi, this is Bobby Klein. I'm the translator and the interpreter of the I Ching. This is a New Earth I Ching, easy to understand, easy to put to use. It's an oracle, 3,000 years of wisdom wrapped up in this. So sit back, take a breath. If you've got a question in your mind, ask it. If not, just hang in and you'll get some answers. And that's what this is all about. The I Ching, they say, is the book of change, and it is, but it's also the book of answers. All right. Tune in. Drop in. You're home. Yeah. You're home. Into this reading. Here we are, it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Whenever you're listening, this is the information for this week. This is the reading from the I Ching. I read now my interpretation of the I Ching, and you will find it in my book, The New Earth I Ching by Bobby Klein on Amazon. Buy my book. It's a beautiful book. It's a hardcover, meant to last for years and years and sit on your shelf and be there for you to use. You know, I love it. There's so many listeners on this podcast. I've been doing it for about 11 years before we called it podcasts. It was just me here recording and sending it out. So we come in to listen, to get information from the oracle. Comes back from so many years. You know, as we go through these times with the oracle, we find the information lasts for years and years. We hear the voices of the elders. We hear the voices of the cosmos that come to us in these readings. I want to speak to the travelers now. I have a retreat coming up here in Tulum, June 10th to the 14th, and you'll find the information on my website, bobbyklein.com, about the retreat. And I know it's going to be amazing. It's going to be on the beach, going to be on the Caribbean, beautiful places, beautiful hotel called Ical, and we're going to open up doorways from the cosmos, doorways in our hearts, doorways in our mind, doorways of love. So tune in. I would love it if you would join me here. And if you got it in mind, make it move. Happy to say we're filling up. And I just look for a full boat of laughter, love, learning, opening, coming together in community and life and love. Under a bright sun, I join with the sounds of earth, waiting for the wind. Yeah, that's what it's about, you know. We are waiting for the wind. We're waiting for that wind of change that comes. And of course, you know, we call this the Book of Changes as we open up to that place and we open up to that space. And this week, the coins have turned up. 2 trigrams made up of yin and yang lines to bring us to number 40. Unraveling. You know, time comes that we've made a lot of knots in our life, you know. Relationships, ideas, old contracts we want to get rid of. And sometimes we got to do the unraveling, you know. Think about that. If you get, you know, if you're a fisherman and you know, and you see what happens to the line as it backs up and it gets tangled, or that piece of string, or your earphones that get tied up, or how about those Christmas lights? They need unraveling, and that's what we need sometimes. We got to come to a time of unraveling. And that's what number 40 speaks of to us, right? Number 40, it's about unraveling. It's about change, because, of course, the I Ching is the book of changes, but I look at it as the book of answers, and that's where we're headed, and that is where we are going. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, yelling off the edges of the cliff. Hey, we are cliff dancers in this life, you know. There were the tribes that were the people who lived on the shore and they fished, and the ones that lived on the flatlands and they were hunters and they were agriculture tribes, and then there were the ones that are looking like my tribe, which are the cliff dancers. And this is one for the cliff dancers. So all you cliff dancers, you know, listen up, because here it comes. It's going to come to us as information, but also to keep us safe, keep us high, keep us rolling. Yeah, that's what it's about. Number 40, Xie Unraveling. Above is Zhen, to shake and arouse, and below is Kan. It is opening up the gorge, the test, this critical time, right? We are at a critical time, and don't doubt it. You know, the wisdom says liberation. Liberation, the heavens release rain, that's energy, that has been held back. Obstacles are washed away. Boy, oh boy. Obstacles getting washed away. So when we do that, we get a clean slate. And what do we set your intentions well? That's what we say at times like this. Because you know, you got a clean slate and you want something and you set your intention, well, you're going to get it. So set your intentions well, because we get what we ask for. So we always say, watch what you ask for, because you're going to get it. We, the earth and her people. The earth and her animals, the earth and her plants, the earth and her minerals are all in the process of constant release, releasing the old, releasing the stuff that we've been sentimental about, or the things that were just so sticky they wouldn't come off our fingers or the soles of our shoes. The quality and the quantity of energy that abounds now on earth, which is coming directly from a rarely tapped universal storehouse, is making it possible for all people on the earth to move out of the old ways of doing things, the old ways of stale ideas, stale patterns, making this opening, this new way where there's possibilities. And what we do is we reach out and we grab the possibilities while they're there. You see, this is not only a new way, this is a revolution, man. This is a way of revolution, and that's where we're at, in that place of revolution. So feel it, see it, and open to it. Open wounds. Yeah, a lot of us are walking around with open wounds, those places where abuse came in. Now, it could be the abuse came from your internal judgment, or it could have come from another person, or from society's weird rules, these backward ideas about the way we should be, the way they set up society, man. It doesn't work, you see. Society's changing. That agricultural revolution, that industrial revolution, this democratic way of being in the world, at least in here in the Americas, that democracy, does it work? Did it work? Are we coming to a new time to see the world in a new way, where all countries are joining together? And that's what I see. That's what I see in a new earth, is us all coming together in a new way of living, governing, living together as community, coming back to our tribal ways that were balanced, man. They were in balance, you see. So if you're feeling these open wounds, these old judgments that have been laid on you, man, they cut into you in such a deep way. Well, they're all now in the lineup, man. They're ready for healing. They're ready for release. And now is the time. You see, it's in the perfect order right now to recall all the misunderstandings, all the abuse that happened, all the stuff from the past, and then you come to unravel those knots that have bound you to the past. And you don't have to be there, and you don't have to be stuck. And that's true. You can be free and you can be released. All right. Look, we all got some funky old programs that are working. The I Ching is talking about letting it go. You've had some tape running in the background of your life, old stuff, you know. You quiet it for a while, and then it pops up, right? Right at the worst time, you know, and sometimes you will it. Well, now you can get it out. Now you can get it out the door, because we opened up that doorway, and we are leaving that same door open to welcome new opportunities. And that's what this time is about. It's about coming into ourselves in a new way, in a way of living, in a way of loving, in a way of being that we have not done before. We're in that place where bitterness and guilt and jealousy, man, those are burdens that are too heavy. Not for this time. You know, look at where you're guilty. Look at where you're bitter. Look at where you've been jealous. And that's really jealous, that green-eyed monster, man. It's too much right now, you know? So what do? You can let go of that stuff, and you know you're going to move on, and you got to take stuff with you, but make it a light bag so you can move it, because what's happening now, there's a train coming, and that's what this is talking about, because it's all about timing right now, and this train is called liberation, man, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what is coming, is this beautiful, beautiful time of love and of liberation. And that's what we see. And that's what we're being talked to. That's what we're being talked about. And that's what's happening. And that's what's coming to us as we see it. You know, back in the 60s, we talked about flower power, right? What was that? That was a peaceful journey to open it up, you know. When I saw it at the festivals, flower power, you know, that walking up to the guards of the place, the police at Monterey, giving them flowers. And you know what? They took them, put them in their hair, put them in their helmets, you know, and we opened it up. And back in that time, it was just a crack in the door that opened up. And now we're coming around again to this place where the ideas were coming. And they were looking great, but we didn't have enough strength then to carry it through now. But now we do, because this idea, this energy is not lost. It's been accumulating and ready for this cycle that we can use it, this place of liberation. What is before us now has the focus and strength needed to affect big changes, sweeping changes, changes in the world, changes in borders, changes in people coming together. And, you know, the new earth, man, I look at it and I see no borders, and I see us coming together. Will it work? Can we change the old ways? I think we can. How do we do it? We do it with love. We do it when you see the opportunity, and if you're feeling good and you're feeling love, then you can seize it because you got the strength. But it's not going to happen if you're tied up in the old ways, you see. It is a time when you can look at what your deepest desires are for peace in your life, and that's where it starts, right? As we all work towards the greater good, we have great opportunity before us. You know, it's true. In the world, there's been abuse. In our lives, there's been abuse. It could be emotional, spiritual, physical, biological. Could be in a lot of ways that we don't feel it, we don't see it anymore. But as long as we understand that it's been there, it's affected us, and it's stopped us on our journey or taken us off the path, now's the time to recognize it. Now's the time to see what you've done. And if you don't like what you've done, you forgive yourself. Because when it gets down to it, man, you're the only one that's going to forgive you, nobody else. And then when you forgive yourself, you release others, right? And then all are ready to come together to seize the time of the greater good, because we're at a place of deliverance. And we're just at the beginning, right? I mean, look, you know, we've been operating on the earth how long, you know, how many years? But this part where we're civilized, yeah, the part where we're civilized, and a lot of stuff has happened, a lot of mistakes have been made, but I truly believe that we're in a time of deliverance by changing ourselves, changing our relationships, changing the way that things are, making things brighter, and coming into times of correction, because that's what we're talking about, correcting the way we've been, the way we've thought, the way we've governed, the way that we've been in medicine. All these ways need to be changed. And it's happening slowly. So what do? Do we sweep a magic wand over everything and say, bingo, it's going to change? No, it doesn't work that way. But the way that it does work is by changing those things in our life, changing it in our friendships, our relationships, in our tribe, in our community, as we all work for the greater good, because we're at the beginning. And we're contemplating great moves. And, we sometimes feel it. I feel like I want to change the earth. I want to do something good. Well, that's real. And now we have the time to do it, right? Now is the time. Now is the time to come together when we see the way that it is. So we jump in and we're bold and we take the risk, because what do we know? No growth without risk. And we take those risks on our internal journey to begin to think in a different way, maybe we're praying in a different way, or we're meditating for the first time in a different way, and you have a perception that you have been surviving, that you've been keeping your head above water, but now is the time to swim. Swim to shore, dry yourself off, and partake in the liberation that's awaiting you, where we jump into new opportunities that are about to be, or they already are presented. Look, you're listening to this, you're doing your work, you've asked for this. You've asked for change, right? You're going and doing the work, listening to the lectures, reading the books, seeing what the elders have to say, what do the poets have to say, what do the writers have to say about this time. Well, we are all these tribes people, and we're doing good work. And as we pay attention to it, and as we come into that state of love, we know that we have work to be done, and the work is great work. So it is work, we say, A dog barking in the back's working. Your efforts now are to leave past influences behind you. The past influences from abuse. These things have been influencing your path, influenced your journey. And it may have been self-abuse. And no matter what it is, have no blame, have no guilt, because with truth, with integrity, with courage, you're going to find your situation suddenly changing for the better. It does work that way, you see, because this is magic. Magic's not, magic's real. Alchemy, it's real, right? Where you open up to your own personal power, your own personal strength, right? Look, there's a grim picture out there, this corporate media, all the stuff, the control of government, what is projecting on us, even in our lives. But we have to look at it and say, wait a minute, I do not have to sign up for that, because each of us right now has the energy of deliverance. And as we operate in it, we tie up with all the people who are out there doing the same thing as we get on the train of liberation together. So don't doubt. Exercise self-love, right? Get into it, love yourself, forgive yourself, and have the generosity of spirit, all right? What is it? Being of service. It's helping your neighbor, maybe helping the elder across the street. Yeah, that's me with the stick. Replace the burden of negative thoughts and feelings. What do we replace them with? We do it with loving kindness. Loving kindness. And it's time for compassion. That's what His Holiness talks about. It's time for compassion for the earth and for all her beings, right? The actions of Gaia, Mother Nature, if you just pay attention to how it works, it'll guide you in releasing your own inner wisdom. Just for a minute, think about a seed. Maybe you've been saving seeds. Think about that, and you plant it. Watch how it works. You nurture it, you feed it, you water it, and it grows. And that's what we're like. And we grow, and then we become a flower or a tree or a tomato or a papaya, whatever it is, and then we grow into that. And what is that? What's happened with that seed? In the center of that seed was wisdom to know how to do this. Don't you wonder, how did it know that it was going to be a tree? Well, that's in us too. And I know all of us now listening, we've heard this call. So now's the time to go for it. We've been waiting for the time, and now's the time to put the words from the ancient oracle into action, into activities as we meditate and see ourselves in the place of the greater good, in the place of joy, in the place of loving, in the place of being in that wonderful spot of goodness and good times as we listen and we hear the story. Look, we're not asking you to reach out and to trust everybody around you. That's not what it's about right now. But it is about trusting yourself. That's what's up for you. That's what's up and running. So trusting yourself and your strength as an incarnated human microcosm, and muster all your courage, man, to cut the knot, right? That Gordian knot that's tied up, that's bound you. And when you release yourself, you're releasing those around you. Think about who you've kept in bondage, right? And look, it's not like you set out to be a jailer, but just think about it. Is it in a relationship, a business, kids? Man, release them. You see, this knot could have had roots for you in your childhood, or it might be from last year, or you might have got tied up yesterday, or maybe last week, or maybe a few minutes ago, right? And we've come to that time to let it go, and as we fill ourselves with love and compassion and kindness. We are in our now, and our now is beautiful. I mean, beautiful. And you're going to be letting some people go. You're going to be letting old ideas go. And this is what liberation and deliverance is all about. So stay and be yourself. Do not walk in anybody else's moccasins, man, and don't judge their stuff. You got enough stuff to deal with, If somebody is going somewhere, just maybe what they need is for you to listen. Maybe what they need is for you to walk away. But that's their stuff, right? It's not yours. So what do? You take the ride. You get on the train, the dynamic train of liberation. That train is thrilling, and that train is sexy, and that train is loving, and that train is bright. Because that's what liberation is, right? Can you dig it? That's what liberation is, and that's where we're coming, and that's where we're going to hear this wonderful time of liberation, of knowing, and of feeling, and of being in our hearts, where we know ourselves, and coming in to the beauty of this new earth. The haiku for this week: under a bright sun, I join with the sounds of earth waiting for the wind. And now, a word from our sponsor. Yeah, we got a sponsor. That sponsor is Archaeology of the Soul, and that's the retreat we're having down here in Tulum. Archaeology of the Soul, which is going to be a 4-day treat, man. It's going to be a place with me teaching great teachers, understanding about the depth of our heart and of our soul. And we're going to dance, and we're going to play, and we're going to listen to music. We're going to have great food, and we are going to grow. And we're going to shed all that stuff that needs to be shed as we join with the earth and her sounds. We join with the wind. We join with the sun. And that's what this time is about. You see, it's about release. Go to bobbyklein.com and click on the banner up above where it says about the retreat and go. We've just changed the prices to make it more accessible, and I love that. We had made a few addition errors, but it's all corrected, so please come. And I know you're going to love it and you're going to like it, And you're going to see to write. If you have any questions about it, you can write to Allison at bobbyklein.com, and she'll get back to you and tell you about what's there, what's available. But you can get it pretty much on the website. So I guess we got two sponsors today. We got my retreat, and we got that coming up, and we got the book, The New Earth I Ching, on Amazon, and you can get it in a Kindle, digital version, but get it in a hardback. And man, I took so much care in making sure this hardback was going to be something special that would sit on your shelf, be strong, and that every time you took it out, it was useful, and you can have it. Because the I Ching, what we're listening to are the I Ching, and we're hearing all these beautiful ideas, all these beautiful things that we're talking about, the book of changes. And that's what we're feeling. The book of changes, and it's also the book of answers. That's how the I Ching works. We go back into this time of finding ourselves and finding our souls. Liberation. Energy has been held back. And now the release comes. And that release takes away the obstacles. Bless you for joining me here on this podcast. As the instructions from the oracle, ones from the ancients, the time of Confucius comes to us and opens up these doorways and reminds us, right, that we're in the process of release, right? Get into understand that right now we can release the old, all that stuff that, that we've kept on the wall that we're sentimental about. Last night at dinner, I was with this wonderful woman from Venezuela, and she said that she just moved from a house where she had all these special things all around her house, and she loved them, and they were here, and they were there, and all that. And then she took them down and looked and saw how beautiful they were, but knew it was time to move on, right? So look at the stuff that you got. Certainly the stuff you're holding on to, maybe let it go. Maybe give it into shashlik where you're giving it away. But get rid of all that stuff that you've been holding on to, all those old ideas. And the way you do it is with compassion and love, and it works. It really works. And this is not just a new time. This is a revolutionary time, and I do believe that that's what's happening in the earth now, where bitterness and guilt and jealousy, it's too much to carry, man. We got to get on board, and we got to be loose, and we got to be free. We got to understand that we have deliverance coming. We're look, as you're listening, you've been thinking about making some moves. I know it's true, but it's the time to do it. Do you have some fear? Oh, man, when you're going to make a big change, if you don't have fear, then you're psychotic, you're sick. Of course we have fear, but it's time to be bold and jump into the risk, because that's the way that we grow, right? All these old influences that you've had from the past, see them, understand they were there, and then let them go, and we can do it. And like I said, in the translation, I said, you might be letting people go. That's true. And you get a lot of old ideas go. And in that, you let go of all the old wounds. And this is what liberation and deliverance is all about. So I leave you with love and the Mayan phrase from here, which is in Lakesh Alakin. I am the other you. And I like it that way. Yes, I do. Namaste, my brothers. Namaste, my sisters. You want love? Be love. You want peace? Teach peace. Honor your teachers, whether they're still in their body or not. Honor your teachers. That's part of the alchemy. So I leave you with as much love as I can possibly muster from down here at the 20th parallel. So think about going to my website, joining us for the retreat, and you're just going to feel love as I send you now from here at the 20th parallel. Again, in Lakesh Alakin, I am the other you. And I like it that way. Yes, I do. Namaste, y'all.